Killer whales are the primary apex predators of our oceans. This is a species with a wide range of variations between the different types of killer whales, also referred to as ecotypes. These variations include difference of prey, coloring variations, body size, behavior, and characteristics, as well as social structure, geographical location, and vocalization patterns. The specific ecotypes often share geographical ranges, yet are genetically distinct from one another. So how do these different ecotypes of killer whales behave? Is there a difference in the characteristics, behaviors, and social structure in wild killer whales compared to those in captivity? This short film will attempt to discuss and research how marine parks such as SeaWorld account for these differences between ecotypes when holding captive orcas. Ultimately, this film will aim to answer the following research question: how accurate is SeaWorld's portrayal of orca behavior, and how does SeaWorld's educational material affect the public's understanding of orcas? Orcas behave and interact with each other differently with respect to their different ecotypes. In this film, the behaviors of wild orcas will be compared to those of orcas in captivity by SeaWorld. Therefore, the focus will be on the ecotypes of orcas that are currently held at SeaWorld, resident and transient orcas. The very first orca to be held captive by SeaWorld was named Shamu, a young female calf taken from her mother in Puget Sound, Washington by fisherman Ted Griffin. Shamu was a resident killer whale that primarily feeds on Chinook or king salmon. The resident killer whales have a distinct set of behaviors that help differentiate them from other ecotypes of killer whales. In the eastern North Pacific, there are three populations: northern residents, Alaska residents, and southern residents. Shamu is a southern resident killer whale, currently the only endangered population of killer whales. Resident killer whale behaviors include backdiving, belly flopping, breaching, bubble blowing, fluke lift, fluke wave, half breach, mating, pectoral slap, pectoral wave, chasing, direction change, spreading out, joining groups, and forming a superpod. One of the most distinct differences between resident and transient killer whales is their choice of prey. Transient killer whales are marine mammal hunters that feed on seals, sea lions, porpoises, dolphins, and occasionally other whale species. These whales typically form groups of 3 to 5 whales to hunt for prey. Unlike the highly vocal resident orcas, transients use stealth to their advantage. The main characteristics and behaviors of transient orcas are as follows: haul-out foraging, nearshore and offshore foraging, resting, and social-like behaviors, which include breaching, tail slapping, spy hopping, and half-breaching. Overall, between the two ecotypes of orcas being studied during this research project, there are a variety of different hunting and social behaviors exhibited by both types of whales. So how is knowledge passed down? Resident killer whales have been known to follow a matrilineal social structure after over 4 decades of research studies being conducted on the different pods of resident killer whales. The social structure of these whales is centered around the lead female or matriarch. Everything from hunting strategies, migration patterns, vocalizations, and special adaptations specific to that pod are all passed down and learned from the lead female. Transient killer whales follow a similar matriarchal social structure. However, one difference is that both males and females disperse from the maternal group rather than staying with their mothers for their entire lives. So how do captive orcas behave? What are their distinct characteristics? Captive orcas display a variety of behaviors, some of which are similar to those observed in wild orcas. However, many behaviors displayed by captive orcas are social behaviors performed due to the unnatural social structure of being in captivity. Studies have shown that the main behaviors exhibited by captive orcas are as follows: swimming together, synchronized swimming, water jet and hole investigation, social play, climbing up, resting together, and standing still. Captive orcas also show antagonistic behaviors, which include chasing, pushing, biting, raking, ramming, and tail kicking. The behaviors observed by captive killer whales in this study are not common behaviors seen in wild orca populations. So how are orcas put together by SeaWorld? The current whales being held by the 3 different SeaWorld amusement parks were both born in captivity and were captured in the wild. SeaWorld San Diego currently holds 8 captive orcas. 6 were born in captivity, while 2 were captured from the wild prior to 1985. SeaWorld Orlando currently holds 5 captive orcas, one of which was captured from the wild, and SeaWorld San Antonio currently holds 5 captive orcas, all of which were born in captivity. In SeaWorld San Diego specifically, there is more than one ecotype of orca present, which in turn leads to possible complications for the individual whales. As researched earlier in the project, each ecotype of killer whale has different diets, vocalization patterns, size, characteristics, and behaviors. In the San Diego SeaWorld Park, two of the differing ecotypes are whales Corky 2, captured in the wild from Canada, and Ulysses, captured in the wild from Iceland. Corky 2 is a member of the northern resident orca population, whereas Ulysses is an Icelandic killer whale, also known as a North Atlantic Type 1. The two whales are placed together in the same facility, despite being different ecotypes of the killer whale species. The two whales do not get along with one another socially and have shown aggression towards one another. This shows that after conducting a variety of different research, it is reasonable to conclude that the SeaWorld marine parks do not choose to put orcas together based off their lineage and genetic specifications, but rather for the purposes of breeding. Ulysses was trained to ejaculate on command, as with other male orcas used in the company's sperm harvesting efforts. According to SeaWorld, he sired a calf with Kalia through artificial insemination when she was 8 years old, an unnaturally young age for orcas to become pregnant. This is another example of how the breeding program at SeaWorld was their main priority rather than placing whales of the same lineage or ecotype together. So what is SeaWorld's education? SeaWorld currently offers orca performance shows titled Orca Encounter at their marine parks. According to SeaWorld, you'll witness thrilling natural orca behaviors and learn more about them than ever before. Orca Encounter will leave you with a deeper understanding of these magnificent animals and will inspire you to care even more profoundly for the wonders of our natural world. The natural behaviors being witnessed are not performed by the whales in a natural way like they would be in the wild, but are rather trained behaviors to mimic those observed in wild orcas. This same reference states that two orcas are beached together on a concrete platform. Their trainers have given them the command to beach themselves, even though this is not a natural behavior for orcas. Beaching like this is one of the many abnormal tricks that SeaWorld employees have trained orcas to do in front of cheering audience at its killer whale stadiums. All educational material derived from the 4 SeaWorld marine parks, Marineland of Ontario, and the Miami Sea Aquarium contained longevity information that significantly and consistently contradicted recent scientific literature. This article points out that the most recent scientific research concludes that the average lifespan of female killer whales is around 50.2 years and have a maximum longevity of about 80 to 90 years. Males have distinctively smaller average lifespans and overall longevity than female killer whales. Males have a mean lifespan of about 29.2 years and a maximum longevity of around 55 years. This scientific research is not reflected in the marine park educational content such as SeaWorld's Orca Encounters. After completing all research, it is reasonable to conclude that the educational material shown by SeaWorld during their orca performance shows does not accurately reflect the scientific research being done on the species. This affects the public understanding of orcas in a significant way. If the public were to view captive orcas and wild orcas as equal in terms of behavior and specific ecotype characteristics, it could lead to a variety of misconceptions or understandings. The best way to inspire others to care for our oceans and marine life is by educating them in a way that inspires them to make change, bring awareness, and overall gain a passion for ocean conservation and the protection of marine mammals, such as orcas. SeaWorld attempts to do this, yet the majority of educational material provided is not accurate in terms of behaviors and characteristics between orcas in captivity and in the wild. It also tends to showcase the behaviors of captive orcas as normal or natural behaviors rather than the trained behaviors that they are. In conclusion, ultimately, the research conducted suggests that for true educational and positive influence in public awareness, marine parks such as SeaWorld should prioritize more scientifically accurate portrayals of orca behavior and provide more detailed insights into the species' natural history, building a stronger respect and deeper connection to the ocean environment, one of our world's most important ecosystems.